I've done 3 ski seasons in the snow and I've learnt a little bit from that. I want to give you a video to help hopefully give you some tips to maybe doing your first ski town living or mountain adventure. I grew up in Australia, so I was never around mountains that much. So the first time that I moved to a ski town, it was definitely a shock. It's a different way of living that I wasn't used to, and I learnt a lot of things the hard way, and hopefully my lessons can pass on to you so you don't have to learn those things too. The first, and I would say probably the most important, is layers. Wear layers of clothing, multiple layers, and most importantly, wear thermals. Thermals will save your life. If you can get a couple of pairs of nice thermals that are comfortable, you'll barely feel the cold. You can go out in like a flannel and a t-shirt with your thermals underneath on some good days and not feel it. Especially good for snowboarding and skiing. It will definitely keep you warm, especially if you're at the top of those chairlifts and on the top of the mountain on a windy day. You will be so glad that you're wearing thermals. Speaking of that, a lesson I also learned is if you happen to get really cold, specifically a certain part of you gets really cold, don't reheat it by a fire or a heater. That is how you can get nerve damage, which I unfortunately did to my feet and toes. I was snow shoveling for about 4 hours in a pair of Vans, and my feet got pretty cold. When I went home, I put them straight in front of the heater, and now when it gets cold, I lose feeling in the last 3 toes and in my heel of my foot. I also get like pins and needles and stuff. That's I believe it's like a 2nd degree frostbite. But yeah, don't reheat your feet or whatever gets cold straight in front of a heater. Give it time to warm up. Another tip, if you want to save money, and if you have the opportunity to do this, is if you're trying to buy ski gear, try and buy it at the end of the winter. Not just before the season starts, but at the end of the last season. You're going to get so much stuff that's super discounted. Everything's just super cheap. And another side note, if you want to make some money, it's actually a pretty good deal to buy all that stuff then, and you can resell it at the start of the season for a profit, because everyone's just trying to move out and get rid of all their stuff at the end of the season, so you get really good deals. Also, check out thrift stores. Thrift stores are kind of slept on. There's a lot of secondhand sports stores as well. You can get a lot of gear there. The first ski season I did, I had a $20 board and boots. The 3rd season I did, I ended up getting a really nice brand new pair of boots. That's another thing. If you're getting ski boots, I recommend, if you can, getting them new, because they shape to your foot. They form to your foot. And using someone else's boot, it's not going to be shaped to you. And the thing that's better with having a shaped boot is it actually keeps your foot warmer and more comfortable, of course. So if you can buy boots brand new, definitely do that. That being said, if you don't know anything about ski or snowboard gear and it's your first season, don't go and buy the fanciest stuff. Go buy or rent some crappy stuff. Figure out what you like and what you want from a board, and then get exactly what you want. You can be so stoked. Also, if you're trying to save some money, you're gonna need to learn to cook, because eating at ski towns is insane. There are some exceptions. Some ski towns are pretty accommodating to people who live there, especially, the typical ski bum, sort of broke and trying to get by. We used to have wings nights that were cheap, and there's tacos and some other things. You can get by on that, but that's not reliable for every day. It's also not the healthiest eating, but if you're out there in the snow every day, at least you're doing that. Another piece of advice is don't take a shortcut through the woods. If you think it's a shortcut, there's a chance the snow's pretty deep. There's a chance it doesn't end up being a shortcut. I did that once. What was a 15-minute walk that I thought I could shortcut into 5 minutes ended up being about an hour of crawling in the snow and clothes that were definitely not warm enough to do that. So yeah, maybe just take the usual route. Shortcutting through the snow might not work, and it's going to be really uncomfortable if it doesn't. If you drive, make sure you get good tires, because it's pretty slippery out there. Also, make sure if you do have a car and you're not driving it, make sure you clear your car off every now and then. I saw people's cars get ruined and buried in the snow because they just didn't do anything about it. And it's a pretty easy way to fuck up your car. So make sure you just clear off your car every now and then, especially if you had a huge dumping of snow. All that weight of snow on the car can actually like crush the car. And I've seen it happen. Also, if you are driving a car and you're cleaning off the windshield of snow, make sure you clean off the top too, because when you're driving, that snow will fall back. And if that snow falls off the top of your car and back and onto another car, if you're trying to, adjust your steering and drive in the snow, it's super slippery. It's not going to happen. You're also out in the mountains, so you're probably on a highway driving fast. And if that snow comes and falls off and hits someone else, they can get in an accident. It's really dangerous. So do the courtesy of clearing off the top of your car. For gloves for skiing and snowboarding, I have 2 tips here. One is use mitts. That's because if you use gloves, all your fingers are separated and they can't keep you as warm as easy. If all your fingers are together, you can stay warmer a lot easier. The other piece of advice is have an inner glove. I like ones that you can still use your phone, but have an inner glove inside of your mitts. Your hands will never get cold, and it means you can take your mitts off and do stuff with your phone while you're on the chairlift, but you're not going to get freezing cold hands. And last, that is really important that not a lot of people do, but I mean any nurse on the mountains will tell you this, and most neurosurgeons, all sorts of people will tell you this. Wear a f***ing helmet. I actually caught a chairlift ride with a kid last season, and it was pretty sad. The way he introduced himself was, hey, sorry, I may not remember any of our conversation. My memory's really bad. Had a bad ski accident. And I'm guessing he says that to a lot of people. He actually was wearing a helmet. If he wasn't wearing a helmet when he had his accident, he probably wouldn't be alive. But we actually talked about that, and he is obviously a huge advocate for helmets, and was of course wearing one. But really important, please wear a helmet. That is my tips to ski town living. Let me know down below if you have any extra tips or any other advice for people doing their first ski season. And thanks for watching. See you in the next video.